Hello everyone, welcome to uh, this video on lesson number 3 of module number 5, which deals with plane table surveying of subject basic surveying 18 CV 35, which is part of your third semester curriculum. Before we start with today's lesson, which is on various methods uh, by which plane table surveying can be done, and we'll be studying one of the methods, that is radiation method, in detail. Before we go through this, let us see uh, what were the things that we learned in the previous class. In the previous class, we learned about what are the advantages and disadvantages of plane table surveying, and what are the working operations of plane table. Now, a quick recap. The advantages of plane table level are uh, possibility of omitting measurement is eliminated because we are doing both plotting and measurement on the field itself. So any possibility of omitting measurement is eliminated because everything is there before the surveyor's eyes. So the next advantage is the surveyor can compare whatever work the surveyor has plotted with the actual things on the field then and there. It's not like you're doing, you're recording things, you're going to office and then you're plotting. Here you're plotting and taking measurements on the field itself. So we can compare the plotted work with actual things on the field. Uh, Irregular objects can be plotted more accurately since they are seen while plotting. Uh, Booking errors are eliminated because in plane table surveying we are only measuring and plotting, and sometimes we are not even measuring also, we are just sighting and plotting. Next, local attractions do not influence plotting. Local attractions are a big problem in compass surveying. Uh, in, in plane table surveying, uh, that is not a problem because the trough compass that is used in the plane table surveying, it is only used to mark north. So plotting work does not get affected. Now, to draw or to plot, great skills are not required. We are just sighting and plotting. So it does not require a great amount of technical skills. Also, the method is fast because it does not involve any office work. Directly, we are coming on the site, taking, uh, plotting, and taking measurements simultaneously. And the instruments are not costly. They're very cheap compared to other type of instruments that are used in surveying. Some of the limitations are surveying cannot be conducted in rainy season or in wet weather. Now, the plane table is very heavy to carry, so when you are conducting surveys in hilly areas or in forest areas, it becomes very difficult to carry around all the instrument. And also, it has many accessories, so some of the accessories may get lost. So it is uh, difficult to maintain all the accessories compared to the other instruments used in survey. It is also less accurate compared to the other methods. Also, reproduction of map to a different scale is difficult. So these were the advantages and limitations uh, that were dealt with in the previous class. Now, the other concept that we went through in the previous class was working operations. Some of the working operations carried out by plane table is centering, leveling, and orientation. Now, centering is the process of setting the plane table such that the point that is marked on the sheet is the point exactly above the point that is marked on the ground. This is done with the help of plumbing fork and plumber. Leveling, the table must be level before any plotting is to be done. That is, the table must be horizontal. It shouldn't be inclined or it shouldn't be slant. It should be perfectly horizontal, and this is done with the help of spirit level. The next is orientation, that is, lines that are drawn in the plane table must be parallel to the lines that are there in the corresponding lines in the ground. If a line joining A and B points on the sheet, it must be parallel to the A and B points, the line joining A and B point on the ground. So orientation, there are two methods, two most commonly used methods for orientation. One is using a trough compass, the other one is using backside. So these were the things from the previous class. Let us continue with today's class. So in today's class, we will be dealing with what are the different methods of plane table survey, and one of the methods, radiation methods, we will be dealing with it more in depth. So methods of plane table surveying or methods of plane table. There are four methods to carry out plane table surveying. First one is radiation method. Second one is intersection method. Uh, Third one is traversing method, and the last one is resection method. Out of these four methods, the first two methods are employed for locating details, while the other two methods are used for locating position of plane table station on drawing sheet. That is, the first two methods is used for plotting work. The last two methods are used to locate the position of the plane table station on the drawing sheet. So if you want to plot anything, you have to either follow radiation method or you have to follow intersection method. Now, radiation method. Now, in this method of plane table surveying, the plane table is set up at only one station, and various points are located by radiating or drawing a ray from instrument station to each of the points, and plotting to scale along the ray the distance measured from station to the point. Now the plane table is set at one single station. From that single station, whatever points are to be plotted, we will sight those points and we will draw a ray towards those points, and then we will measure the distance between the plane table station and those points, and we will plot it to some scale. I will mark those points on to some scale on those corresponding rays. Now, the radiation method is suitable for surveys of small areas which are likely to be commanded from a single station, meaning if all the points are visible from a single point, then this method is very suitable, and especially for smaller areas. This method is not suitable for larger areas. Now, before we go into that, you should know what are the systems in the uh, plane table survey.
In any plotting, there are two things. One is control, the horizontal control or the vertical control. The second is details. We want to fill the details. Now, what is the meaning of this? If we have a plane table, the control has been generated by some other method of survey. Let us say that method of survey is triangulation. So what we did, we observed all these triangles, and basically we know now the coordinates of all these points. This is how these points have been plotted on the plane table. So our control is available to us. So whenever generally we go to the field in order to do the plane table, the control is already available to us. The meaning of this is, on your sheet you have the points which are plotted. These points are already plotted. As well as we can locate these points beyond the ground. Now what we have to do, by making use of these, as well as we can locate these points beyond the points, fill the details. How to fill the details? Plot the tree here. We want to plot the building here, or okay, we want to plot the road here. Now how to do that? This process we are going to look into. The first method of detailing is by radiation. Now in this radiation, what we will do, as we can see here, let us say there is some object, a building, and these are the four corners of the object, A, B, C, and D, and we want to plot the outline of this building. And we want to plot the outline of this building. Of course, there are more corners, we can also locate these. We want to plot the outline of this building. What we do, we occupy a point there in the ground, which is P. This point P is the one.
This point P is a point where we are keeping our plane table. In order to plot this big building, now this big building has to be accommodated in my sheet. Finally, the big building will come like that.
If I'm standing somewhere here, okay, I'm standing somewhere here, the point P, where on the sheet I should be? I should be somewhere here. Because what we're seeing, the entire slide here, the full frame of your video is the ground, while this little frame here is the plane table or the drawing sheet. So if we compare the geometry of this building and this point, so over here the building and the point should be somewhere here. So once we bring our plane table,
I will set my plane table on point P using plumbing fork. Wherever my I will suspend the plumb bob such that the plumb bob is exactly over point P. So my plumb bob is exactly on point P on the ground. The pointer on the sheet will indicate the point P on the sheet. So I'll transfer the point P which is on the ground to uh, the drawing sheet, and I will name it as small p. Next, we will keep validate about point A, and we will cite point A, and then we will draw a ray against the validate. So I'll keep my validate along at point A, and I will sorry, I'll keep my validate at P, and I will cite A, and I will draw a ray like this on my sheet. So this is my sheet, and this is the actual ground. Next, I will measure the distance from point P to point A on the ground. Let's say it is 80 meters. On this ray, I will mark this 80 meters to some scale. Let's say I will take scale of 80 meters is equal to 8 centimeter, or 80 meters is equal to 16 centimeter. So from point P on the sheet, I will take 16 centimeter length, and I will mark my point A here. So this is my first point A. Next, similarly, using validate, I will cite point B. So this is my site. Next, after citing point B, again I will draw a ray. So I will draw a ray against the validate in this direction in my drawing sheet. Then I will measure the distance between point P and point B on the ground. Let's say it is 60 meters. Then I will convert this 60 meters into the scale. Let's say for the previous distance I had taken 80 meters equal to 8 centimeter. So here 60 meter will be equal to 6 centimeter. So at 6 centimeter distance I will mark a point, and that is my point B on the sheet. Uh, Similarly, I will cite point C using the validate, and I will draw a ray against the validate, and I will measure distance from P to C on the ground, and I will reduce it to my scale, and I will mark it on the drawing sheet. So I will mark point C on the sheet to some scale. So this is my point A, this is my point B, this is my point C. Next, I will plot point D. So I will take my validate against point B, and I will cite point D. I will cite point D. I will draw a ray, and then I will measure distance from P to D. I will reduce it to scale, and I will mark point D. If we join point A, and if we take similar points of this corner and this corner, and if we join all the points, I am getting the outline shape of the building. So this is my point A, and this is my another corner point. This is point B, point C. This is one more corner point, and this is point D. So this is how points can be plotted by radiation method. So let us do this actual uh, uh, exercise on the field. So this is an area. This is my plane table. This is my validate. So validate. This is the sighting vein. This is a narrow slit. and this is the object wing. This is my thin horsehair. This is my spirit level. This is my trough compass. This is my plumb bob. This is the drawing sheet, and this is my pencil. Now, the drawing sheet is attached to the drawing board by a tape, by binding tape. So we have fixed some points on the ground. You can see the ranging rod here, uh, red and white bands. This is the ranging rod. This is to mark the points on the ground. This is one more point. Similarly, some 4 to 5 points are fixed on the ground.
Now, first I have to do leveling. So I'll take the spirit level and I will keep it in the corners of the plane table. I'll adjust or rotate the plane table legs, and I will make the bubble in the spirit level come to the center. So after I'll make the bubble come to the center in all the four corners, then the plane table is set to be leveled. So this is my uh, uh, this process is called leveling. After with leveling simultaneously, I have to uh, transfer the point on the ground to drawing sheet. So let's say this is my point O on the ground. So I will transfer this point O on the drawing sheet by using a plumbing fork and plumb bob. So this is my plumbing fork and plumb bob. So I'll take my plumbing fork and I'll place the plumb bob uh, such that the plumb bob is directly above the uh, point. So I have put a peg on that point, and I will uh, keep the plumb bob in such a way that the plumb bob comes exactly on the wooden peg. So now my plumb bob is exactly on the wooden peg, and uh, whatever point this pointer is indicating, that point is indicated by the wooden peg on the ground. Now I have transferred the point from the ground to my drawing sheet. Now next I have to mark north. So I'll take my trough compass and then I will rotate the table till the needle is centered in the compass. So I will take the plane table, or I will rotate the trough compass to center the needle. We are not doing orientation here. So this is my first station. So what I'll do is I'll keep the trough compass in one of the corners, and I will rotate the trough compass. So I am rotating the trough compass here. So I will rotate the trough compass till the needle comes to the center. So you can see here the needle is centered. So this direction will indicate north. You can see N is written on this needle. So this is my north direction. So I will take my scale, I'll take my pencil and I will draw a line against the trough compass. So this direction and this arrow mark will indicate north. So this is my arrow mark pointing towards north. So this is the use of trough compass. It is used to indicate north. So for after I indicate north in one of corners of
एक
the
पॉइंट
sheet,
वो है
that
जहां
will
पे
be
हमने
the
रेंजिंग
right
रोड
hand
लगाई है, एक
corner.
पॉइंट एक पॉइंट
So
ये है,
next,
एक पॉइंट वो है जहां पे हमने रेंजिंग रोड लगाई है, एक पॉइंट ये है तीसरा। तो इन तीनों पॉइंट्स को हम बाइसेक्ट।
now I have selected these points. This is one of the points. This is my second point. This is my third. So we will plot these 3 points on
करेंगे,
our
इनका
map.
प्लान बनाएंगे।
So
ये
on
हम
these three
रेडिएशन
points,
मेथड
I
यूज
have
कर रहे हैं
put
इसके अंदर।
ranging rod on these 3 points. So this is my third point. This is my second point. That is my first point. So so we'll plot these points using radiation method. So now I'll keep my alidade on point O that is marked on the ground. Then this is my sighting vein. I'll sight this point such that this hair is getting bisected with the ranging rod that is fixed on the point. So I will sight through this slit and I will make this crosshair bisect this ranging rod. But this alidade must should also pass through point O. To ensure that, I'll put a pin on point O. So now uh, I'll put a pin on point O and I will sight through the sighting vein through this narrow slit and I will bisect. I will sight this ranging rod such that this cross hair or this thin hair will bisect the ranging rod. So I will rotate the alidade and uh, when I'm rotating the alidade, I should make sure that the alidade is passing through point O and then I will draw the ray. Next, similarly, I'll rotate the alidade about point O, that is the station point, or before that, you could measure the distance between the station point and point A, so, and plot it. Now we can see we can plot it, can plot that distance on that ray. So to plot the distance on the sheet, we have alidade and we have graduations marked on this alidade. So we can use these graduations and plot the distance on the sheet. We can convert it to some scale and plot it on the sheet. Uh, so I will mark this ray or that station as point A. So my plane table station is point O. So this is my point O and this is my point O on the sheet and I'll measure the distance using tape. I have already measured the distance. So I'll convert it to some scale and on this ray I will mark that point on that scale. So that is my point A. Next, I will just erase the ray. I will only keep the point A marked. So next what I'll do is I'll sight the next point, that is point B. I'll keep the alidade against the point O, that is station O. I'll sight through the narrow slit and I will sight point P. I will make this crosshair or this thin hair bisect with the ranging rod. Then again I will draw a ray against the alidade. So and I will measure the distance between point A and point B. So now I'll draw a ray against the alidade. So and I will mark that ray as B. So so you can see this is my first ray and this is my second. Next, I will come to my third and last point. I'll keep the alidade against point C. Now, while citing all the 3 points, I am keeping the alidade against point O. So now, through this narrow slit, I will make this hair intersect the ranging rod. That is, I am citing point C. Then I will draw a ray. So this is my ray C. So I have all the 3 rays now: OA, OB, and OC. So this is my ray C. So I have all the 3 rays now: OA, OB, and OC. Now I want to, if I want to mark the points A, B, C, I'll measure the distance OA, OB, OC on the ground, and then I will convert it to some scale, and I will mark the points A, B, C on the sheet of paper. So this is my radiation method. I'll set my plane table at a single point. I will cite several points and I will draw the rays, and I will measure the distance between my plane table station and those points on the ground, and I will convert it to some scale and I will plot it on the sheet. So this is a radiation method of plane table surveying. One of the very simple methods, but this method is only suitable when you can set the plane table such that all the points are visible from that particular uh, station, and you can measure the distance between that instrument point, that is O, and whatever points you want to plot, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Only if we can measure the distance between the instrument station and all other points, then only we can do radiation method, and this is very suitable for small areas. So I'll just recap. We have to select a point O so that all the points to be located are visible from it, and we will set up the table at point O or station O, level it and center it. We have to select a point O on the sheet by using a plumbing fork so that it is exactly over station O, and we have to mark the north direction using the trough compass. Now, centering the alidade on O, we will bisect the objects A, B, A, B, C, D, and E, and we will draw the rays OA, OB, OC, OD, and OE. Then we'll measure the distance OA, OB, OC, OD, OE on the ground, and then we'll convert it to some scale and plot it on the paper. So this is radiation method, a very simple method. So that's it for uh, today's class. Please remember there are 4 methods of to do plane table surveying: radiation method, intersection method,